This course is based on object-oriented concept. So we will use object-oriented analysis. We will use object-oriented and design, and yeah, and it is not a programming course. So we will expect to learn more analysis and design, as I have already said in the last lecture. So this is a brief summary of about what we have already discussed in the last lecture. So anyone have a question concerning the last lecture, he can ask me now before I start. If not, in order to start, I need thumbs up now from you. So give me 3 thumbs up to start. I need 3 thumbs up to start. So Lula 1, Ashidib 1, yeah, thank you so much. So let me now share my screen with you. And again, when I share my screen, sometimes maybe I will be muted suddenly, or maybe I lose that screen sharing. In this case, please tell me, because we are recording, in order that we be sure that all material will be presented while we are recording. Just 1 second. Okay. Let's go ahead, share my screen. So share content. Do you see my screen, the PowerPoint presentation? If yes, just I need 1 thumbs up. Perfect, thank you. So today we will start with the analysis phase. We said that all this course is based on a unified process model that has different phases, and each phase is different iteration. So today we will start with the first one concerning requirement gathering. We talk about different case studies, and we will make a use case modeling, and at the end of this lecture, we will have a group exercise. Don't worry, group exercise will just for us to practice what I have already. Yeah, Polkit, do you have a question?
No, actually, I do not have a question. I think it's just it was just a previous hand raise.
No worry. Yeah, if you can lower your hand just in order not to be confused when you have a question. So we will talk about we will make a small group exercise at the end of this lecture. Maybe it will be 2 groups, and each group we will see, and then we discuss the result. The group work is just let us practice what we have already discussed during the lecture. So I think if you have already watched the video or double check the old material, in the old material we said we will use a unified process model, which means that this is a unified process model. We said that in this unified process model we will have different phases, and each phases have different iterations, and in each phase we can have different process disciplines. So as already said before, this course will focus more in inception and elaboration phases. So if you can see here, inception phase will focus more about business modeling and requirement. Today we will start with the requirement. So I have a question. Maybe from linguistic point of view, requirement as an English word, we know about it, what do we mean by requirement. But in business world, what is requirement, and who gives a requirement? Who collects requirement if you are going to make a software? Anyone have an answer for me? What is a requirement?
I guess it's the different functionality. It's not always functional. It could be non-functional as well. But
perfect.
Yeah, different ones that you require.
Yeah. So let's say different. Not go was about Lola. Let's not go about categorization, functional, non-functionality. However, you said it is. If I ask you to define it or describe it in a simple word, who will give the requirement? how we can collect the requirement if we are developing a software Lula? Do you have an idea?
Yes, from the customers or the people who end up
Perfect.
using the software.
So the requirement, it will be the description or the specification that the customer who will own the software lately, what he expects from this software to do for him. Like, can I say like this, Lola?
Yes.
Okay. So, however, so the requirement will be collected from the customer or the end user who will use this software. And sometimes it depends about which firm or which organization it is the software, where we will have different users, and each user has its own requirement if you have different department. However, we as a programmer or a software engineer or a software developer, always we will use that we will modelize or use a technical terminology to describe. For example, you sit with a customer, he need a website, not a website, let's say he need an accounting system. He will say to you, I need accounting system that I can access it at home, and I can access it from my work, and I can always double check when there is a pandemic. I don't, so you said, okay, you need an online accounting. So the user or the customer, we will give us the requirement based in its own linguistic, on its own description or its own terminology. We as a software engineer or a software developer, we will use the technical terminologies and abbreviation, and we have to modelize this requirement to write it in a way, in an engineering way or a scientific way, that can be used in a special format that can be used in different stages lately. So today we will go with the requirement using which is apart from the inception phase in the UP, which is unified process. So requirement are the description or need desired for a product, as we have already said. Which the goal for requirement collection is to identify and document what is really needed. This is very important, document. Because normally when you have to make a documentation, you are not talking about a story. There is a difference between art and science. As an artist, you can always describe what do you think, writing a story, write a poem, painting, whatever you want, without any restriction in the format that you are going to express yourself or express the data or that you want others to know about it. However, when we talk about science, there should be a documentation special format. This is why you are going to use UML diagrams to have a format or a standard that can be used by different people in this domain. So the goal is to identify, to know what is needed, and also to document this in a form that clearly communicate to the client and the development team. So this is very important. What is the standard? What is the form to document this requirement? Yeah, sometimes there is a challenge because ambiguous requirement sometimes not. You should know that we are the same as if you are civil engineer or architecture. Architecture or civil engineer will draw different maps, and in later stage, people who work in construction, they have to follow up this map to build the whole building. So having wrong maps or not being in build or writing this map or drawing this map in a standard way, I will have a disaster later. So sometimes not understanding the requirement in a clearly way, and this maybe will get lately when I make a design and analysis and design for the software, I will get an incorrect expectation from the deliverables that I have. This is why UP, Unified Process Model, which means that whenever you finish an iteration, you can call return back to a client and get a client feedback. This is the main difference we discussed between waterfall and UP, which means that for each iteration, you will have each different requirement in this case. So as Lula said, we will have a functional and non-functional requirement. Functional requirement is concerning features and capabilities, but expected feature specifications. So you sit with a client, he said, okay, I need a software that will manage my financial record. I need a software will manage my stock. I need a software that will manage my customer relationship. So all this is our functional requirement that the end user expected from this. Non-functional or quality requirement is talking about not about this, it's about the functionality that what different aspects that will help this organization to manage its daily operation. It talk about the quality more, which means is it reusable, the scalability of the system. Yeah, you can have an accounting system that can be used for 1,000 record using Microsoft Access, but you can't use the same system that use Microsoft Access for 100,000 records, for example. So this is a non-functional requirement, is a scalability requirement that we have to consider here to know to which platform you have to use. In this case, I have to use Oracle database system, or maybe Microsoft SQL Server database system. So the platform that I have to choose it is based on the non-functional requirement, because non-functional talk about usability, efficiency. Sometimes I have to go to make a multi-threading, for example, programming using it to have a very high efficient, because it's for example, efficiency, it's very important for me. Sometimes I will not have a huge load. This system is being oriented for small middle business, so I don't expect to have a huge amount of users. In this case, I will not be considered so much about efficiency. It doesn't mean that I shouldn't have an efficient one, but I will not consider it as a main core in choosing the platform that I have to use it. So collecting functional and non-functional requirements, they are very important. The functional requirement that we have to use the use case model that we will talk about it. And this is will be discussed in the use case model, but as a supplementary specification. We will see it also. So first, I have to modelize a functional requirement. Let's talk about different functionality included in this system. And then I will make an additional, let's say, specification or artifact that talk about different non-functionality requirement that talks about quality and what we have already mentioned before. So let's talk now about different case study examples, real case scenario examples, which means about different systems. Suppose that we have a case study, the restaurant. You have a current system manual booking sheet, which means that there is a restaurant that may have a manual. Suppose that we have a manual booking sheet. It doesn't have an automatic system. It doesn't have a software. So the case study of the restaurant here that we have different slots, paper slots. Each booking can span into more one slot. We have contact and name and phone number. I think you can imagine what is the manual bookings that we have. We have to, whenever we have the customers that had already booked, we have to record the arrival, because to be confirmed that this booking is being used by the user and the user has already arrived. Sometimes you have to make table switch. All this operation is being done manually. You have a sheet, you have a plan for the all tables. You said this table is being by this customer, this book, and sometimes this customer will ask you that he want to change the table. He maybe have to go to another view, or sometimes he is not comfortable with this table. This always happens with the hospitality business, and you know, in whenever you have a restaurant or hospitality business, it's always there is a say that say the customer is the king. which means that the customer he's always right, and you have to go to the satisfaction of the customer. So sometimes you want to switch the table without having a reason. If you have a free table, you have to do it, or he will be unsatisfied, and this is bad for your customer satisfaction record. So sometimes there will happen a cancellation. He called you. This is all operations that happen in manual and in a restaurant operations booking. And sometimes you have a walk-in customer. That customer will come without a booking, and then you have to manage between the booked seats that you have and the free seats that you can. If you have the free seats, you have to tell them, okay, I have free seats. Go ahead, you are welcome. So this is a case study. Again, this is a case study, which means that what is happening now as a real case scenario in a restaurant that have a manual paper-based booking system. And you need to have all this computerized one. Sure, we know all about having paper-based work. It's slow, confusing, and difficult to read. For example, he has to go change it like this. So after having different changes, it will be unreadable. It's not easy to read after this. So no backup copies. Yeah, sure. Sometimes, suppose you using different sheet and you are one of your employees drinking coffee and the coffee fall down on it, and then now it's now they are useless and you don't have any backup of this. How to get useful management data? Sure, that for example having this manual paperwork, and then if you have to create different reports to see your business how it is working, then you will not have any record for this, and which means that you can't create any report from this because you will not also make a record and report manually in this case. So we need an automated computerized version for this. This is a case study. So you sit with a restaurant owner tell you what's happening, and he give you this requirement that I need this requirement to be done computerized one. So now we have to use the word use cases. Use cases. So use cases will be recording new booking, cancel a booking. When I said a use case, which means that each one of this can be tasks. So a use case, it to be set of tasks. So set of tasks is a use case. You will have different use cases for a case study. Again, for a case study, you will have different use cases. And each use case, it is set of tasks. So record a new booking, it will be as a use case. Cancel a booking, it is a use case. Record a customer arrived, it is a use case. Transfer a customer from a table to another, it is a use case. So let's take another case study. Point of sale system. Point of sale system, it is, you know that still here in Canada, I can see this, that you will go to a small shop, you don't see a point of sale computerized one, you see a small machine that have a cash drawer, and they have to put cashes and make an invoicing using it. So it is a manual cash drawer, it is not a POS system. So we need a POS system sometimes to have to create it, because it should be flexible in a way that we have to record all these operations. This is a manual, nothing recorded. And the primary list of this, there will be a process sales, a return, and there is a rental if it ran some product in this. This is the use cases for this case study too. So before I start with the modeling for the case, I will take case study 1 and go with the modeling for it. If there's anyone had any question, everything clear? So before I will continue, I need 3 thumbs up. No thumbs up, I can't continue. 1, 2. I have only 2. Okay. Sometimes thumbs up will let you to be always alert. Because I know, I said before, having online courses, I have been giving online courses 1.5 years, starting the pandemic. And sometimes I feel I'm crazy talking with myself. So I will be, so sometimes I have to know that I'm still in the real world, that I'm talking with somebody. So thumbs up give me this feeling. So use case modeling. So to create now a model based for a special case study. Suppose the restaurant, the booking system for a restaurant. We will have to deal with 3 definitions. Use case or use cases, how many use cases we have, and scenarios, and the actor or actors, how many actors they have to interact with systems. This is the 3 main aspects here that we have to deal with this. Use case, the different tasks that a user can perform while interacting with the system. Like here. So here we have a record a new booking or cancel a booking. Each one of them, it has a different task that related to this use case. We will discuss it. So scenarios, having different tasks, like, for example, record a booking. It is a use case that has different tasks. Sometimes you will have a normal flow for this, and sometimes you will have an alternative flow, which means if related to a condition, and then you will have alternate flow or exceptional related to condition, that sometimes you will have a condition. If this, then you have to do this task. We will discuss it. So in the scenarios, a scenario will be based on different, first we have to define the use cases. And then for each use case, can we have different scenarios? Either the normal one, or sometimes we will have alternative, sometimes not. It is an optional. And sometimes we have exceptional, sometimes not. So when we define a use case, so we have to define the different scenarios that we will have it. Maybe normal, maybe alternative, and maybe exceptional, and maybe all of them will be related to this use case. Again, use case, set of tasks related to each other. A system can have different use cases. Actors. Actors, they are, let's say, different users, they can interact with a system. I have a question now. So for a restaurant system that we talk about it here, booking system, not the whole restaurant booking system. What are the different scenarios that we have it? Sorry, what are different actors? So again, here in the booking system, we will have record, cancel, record arrival, transfer from one table to another. This is the different use cases that we will have it in this system. Who's the actors or the employees? Do we have only one employee? We have more than one actor that will do this tasks or this use cases. Anyone has an answer to me? So staff. Good. So staff, it is a very general word. By the way, we will see, we talk about the actor generalization lately. So can you be more concrete? So Prabhabjit said that server, Lola system. So Prabhabjit said staff, Lola said a server, a system. Yeah, there are some, let's say there are some tasks from the use cases that the system will do. But who will initialize? One of the tasks of this use case should be an actor. So my question is, who, if we take the case study about restaurant, who or whose are the actors? We know it in the restaurant. So I have two answers so far. Abhijit said that stuff, it's correct, but it's more generalized word, so I need more specific word. Lula said a server or a system can do some task in a use case, but I'm talking who will initialize this use case. So it be a human being, an employee, or a user in this system. Customer, if it is an online booking, it will be a customer. You are correct. But we are not talking about online booking. We are talking about a local booking now. So let's revise. We talk about stuff. Who normally, if you go to a restaurant, what do you see in the restaurant? What is the different roles of the employee there? At the beginning, you can see a receptionist. Perfect, receptionist. And then who? So who will be rather than a receptionist when you go to a restaurant? All of you go to a restaurant. Jad, are you here? Jad, waiter, perfect. So normally there will be a waiter and sometimes will be a head of waiter. Never been to a restaurant, Jad. This is only in the pandemic, yeah? Or you have never always? So you are anti-restaurant. So we will have a receptionist and, as I say, head waiter. Waiter with a head, because, so yeah, chef will be in the kitchen. You are correct. So concerning booking system, I believe that we will have two actors. The receptionist, because the receptionist, she has to get the phone calls, record the booking, or somebody will come to the restaurant and book it. So the receptionist can be one of the actors of this system. This is computerized, local restaurant booking system. And let's say waiter or the head of the waiter, not to have one actor now, will make a table transfer, change from one table to another, which means you have the privilege to do this. So we will have two actors in this local booking system. We will see lately what the different use cases that they do. So in general, an actor what use the system, like here in the restaurant use case, in the case study, you will have if it is local. As Lula said, if it will be an online booking system, so the customer will be one of the users that will use the system. But the case studies that we will have it now, it is a local restaurant booking system. So where is the company the system used? What supports and maintains the system? Like, for example, maybe if you have to make a backup for the data or something like this, there will be a system administrator that have to talk with this system. And normally always there should be a system administrator whenever you talk about database system. And who other systems use these systems? So sometimes there are, if you have a huge system, you will have different, let's say, submodules or subsystems, and you will have some systems that they are related to this one, and each subsystem has its own actors in this way. So if we take a registration system, you will have a student and a registrar. So if it will be a local registration system, so student has to talk with the registrar and the registrar has to do it. If it will be an online registration system, in this case, the student can directly interact with the state system, and still the registrar can also interact with the system. So now let's talk about if we use this functional or non-functional requirement, and we will have a case study, and we will have a use cases, and we will have a scenarios, and we will have an actors. 3. The golden 3. Actors, scenario, and use cases. So in order to modelize this, we said that if you are a civil engineer architecture, you can't draw any map like this. You want, for example, each entity, it has its own abbreviation. that if there is another civil engineer or another architecture, he will go ahead and look at the map, he can understand it. So based on in a standard way of drawing a map. The same case here, because we have to make a documentation for the system, and maybe normally if you are in a big development company, you will have a system designer that he will not make implementation. Another the developer will be another person. So we have to write or to modelize the use case and scenario and the actors having or using a UML diagram. The UML diagram in this case, you will have an actor. By the way, this is in UML there are different standards, so we use this standard. So we can't draw the actor in another way. We have to draw it like this. The communication, the use case that has set of tasks, we name it as a use case. If there is an inheritance between them, because we are talking about object-oriented concept, and sometimes we will have dependencies include and extended, we will talk about it, and sometimes we have some constraint. For example, if you talk about exceptional scenario, it will be based on a constraint in order to have this scenario. So we will use this annotations when we create our UML diagram. Let's go to the case study one that we talked about, the restaurant. So we said we talked about what is the problem of manual systems. This is just I'm revising it, and let's so we have a primary list of use cases. Record a new booking, cancel a booking, record customer arrival, transfer a customer from one table to another. Suppose we will have this. Maybe you will have more. So this will happen when you sit with your customer and you can understand the life cycle that's taking place in the manual operations. Suppose we will take this as 4 use cases. Again, use case mean that you will have a set of tasks, and for each use case you have a scenario. So we will have a record new booking, cancel a booking, record customer arrival, transfer a customer from one table to another. If I go ahead and write it like this, this is the first version. However, it's an incomplete one. So we agree that we have the receptionist and we have the head waiter. So the receptionist will record a booking or cancel a booking. A waiter will record arrival and table transfer. Yeah, and here this is our system. And this is the different use cases that we will have it. We draw it in this way, the use cases, using this oval diagram. Again, I can't write it as, for example, a rectangle. This is a standard. So anyone will see my document later, he can understand this is a use case. And this is a communication, which means that this actor will do this function, this use case. This is a first version. It is an incomplete version. But this is, I know I have these 2 actors, I have these use cases. I related the use cases to this, to the different actors that I have already defined. So use case description, now a case compromise all possible. So this use case, this is a use case that I mentioned here in this UML diagram. This is a UML diagram. This is all, it is a UML diagram. However, when I write my analysis and requirement analysis document that include UML diagram, there should be a description for each use case. In the description of the use case, we have to list all tasks and all scenarios that related to this use case. So the way you describe the use case, there is no special standard, but there are different ways to do it. The standard here in the UML diagram. However, how you describe there are 2 more pain points let's say, two main aspects in this, which means that whenever you want to describe your use case, you have to describe the basic course of event and the alternative and exceptional courses, which means the flow of events. Courses, near the event. So you have to describe the different events you have it, and then you will have to describe different scenarios in this case, course of event. Normal scenario, exceptional, alternative, if alternative, exceptional, they all exist. So for example, if I go to the record booking here in this UML diagram, if I want to describe the use case, again, use case model, this is using UML diagram. UML diagram has different abbreviation and notations. So I'm now describing the use case that's being mentioned here in this UML diagram. So if I take the first one, record booking. Record booking, we will have here basic course of event poses. Either I can write, okay, receptionist enters the date of the requested reservation. System display books for that date. There is a suitable table available. Receptionist enter detail, customer phone number, time of booking, number of covers, table number, whatever. System record and display new booking. So you see that when Lola talked about the system will do an automatic tasks within the use case. However, you should have an actor that will initialize this use case. So that's why receptionist enters the date of the requested reservation. This is the basic course of event for the normal scenario for this one. So either we can write the name of the use case, we give it a name because we have to give it a name, because the name of the use case should be mentioned in the UML diagram. So each use case should have a name. So each use case should have a name in this case. Or this is another way to describe a use case. You can describe it based on different actors. You will have it here. You said, okay, this actor do this, and you give a numbering based on different flow of scenario, the flow of your scenario, flow of data, or flow of events. So both are correct. You can use this way to describe your use case, or you can use this way to describe your use case. Both are correct again. So for the record also, you can say, okay, this is a basic event of event, and then you can make another table. You said this is the alternative. For example, somebody call you for, he said, okay, I want a booking. You have alternatives, or no table available. What you have to do? In this case, reception enters the date, system display booking, then system said no table available, end of use case. This is the basic scenario when you will have available, which is the normal. When somebody call you, you make a booking and you finish it by recording a booking. However, you start recording a booking. This is an alternative scenario, and you have no display, and you have no available. In this case, this is the end of use case, no table available. No booking is being done because there is no available table. And sometimes you will have exceptional course scenario. So your reception enters a date, system display booking, enter details, ask for a confirmation of oversized booking, which means if you, in some case scenario, exceptionally, you said, okay, you have available table. However, this available table, it's not being labeled for this size. It can have four chairs. Sometimes, okay, we said, okay, because we need to have a customers, we said, okay, we will give this table, and when the customer will come, with this group of customers will come, maybe we can include 2 tables more. So the system will say, okay, normally booking cannot be done. However, you need a confirmation from the receptionist that it can be done. You will ask, take care, receptionist, this is oversized. So we name it, if no, then no booking made. If yes, the booking recorded with warning flag. So for this use case, please, you should be very familiar with the terminology or the abbreviation, because it's very important. We as a software developer or a software designer or a software engineer or a computer scientist, whatever your title will be lately, when you will go to make a work interview, you should know the terminology and the technical terminology that we use in the software design and analysis community. It's very important to you. So the use case that I'm dealing with it is about record booking. This use cases will have 3 tables. Each table will talk about different scenario. And I have a UML diagram. Okay? So let's talk another one, record arrival. So record booking, record arrival. Record arrival, if you remember, this record arrival here, we turn to here. Record arrival, we'll do it by the head waiter. So this is, if we go to record arrival, return back to record arrival. So the head waiter, this is the basic course or the basic scenario for this. Head waiter enter date, system display booking, head waiter confirmed arrival for the booking, system records this and updates the display. So you have an arrival, you go to see the booking, you get the booking number, the system will pop up the booking number, you see the details, really this booking number for this person, okay, you confirm it, and then it is being registered the arrival. Do you find something that the first 2 steps, they are the same that done at enter date, system, display booking? Remember this, that this is 2 steps, they are the same that was done by record booking. System display booking, especially this one, system display booking. So the tasks that is named, or the function that's named display booking, it is apart from record arrival, and it is the same task, it's apart from record booking. Here, now we can talk about use case inclusion. So display booking, we have seen this in 2 different use cases. Is something happen here? It's okay. So record booking, we can see it in 2 different places. Here in the display booking. Sorry, display booking, you can see it in the record booking and record arrival. So we can update. We said this record booking, it includes this tasks. So we can do it like this, because record booking include display booking, cancel booking include display booking, record arrival include display. So we can update our use cases, because here at the first version, let's say this is version 1. Version 1, here there is nothing named use case display booking, because display booking was a task within all these use cases. So because it is a task, we can do it as a standing alone use case. And we said this is included in all these use cases. So it will be more clear now that who will read this UML diagram, or who has to check this, you can understand that there is a common activity between all these use cases. It's named display booking. Sometimes if in big restaurant, you will have a waiter and you have a head waiter. And the head waiter will take the order, and the other waiter will help in delivering the order. So this head waiter sometimes he wear another clothes comparing to others. And in order to have a good management within the restaurant, the head waiter can record the arrival or make a table transfer. However, sometimes, okay, you can give it as a privilege to the waiter, or you can't not. But the receptionist doing this display booking and the head waiter doing this display booking, which is included in different one. So we can make something we named generalization concerning display booking. What I mean by generalization, which means that since the receptionist and the head waiter and maybe all other stuff can display the booking, which means that all of them can display this booking. So this is a very general function that can be done all by the actors that I have already defined it in the system. So I can generalize this, and I can say, okay, I can have a more general category. I name it staff. I said, okay, can be done by all staff. You see, this is detail concerning functionality. It's very important for when we make a design for the system. Because lately we will going to make a display, we should know what is, if we have different hierarchy between this characters or users, and at the top level, what is the common, and there is more, and then the lower level, which more specific function we will have it. So this is display booking use case that include in all other use cases. We can say it is a more general, it can be done by more general actor, which mean name we have a stuff. Use case extension. Use case extension, it's like, not like include. Include, it's about a use case that is included in another use case. So we said it is include. However, suppose we have a walk-in now. Walk-in, a customer come to the restaurant and he doesn't have any booking. We said according to the hospitality protocol and the hospitality standards, you have to have a good smile. Even though sometimes you will be very tired and you have a very tough time, you have to smile. You have to smile. And then said, okay, you are always welcome. I said, I don't have a booking and I want to come. I want to enter. I said, okay, no worry. We can do it for you. So in this case, someone has to record this arrival. So it has to record this arrival even though there is no booking. Before this, the recording arrival was done by the head waiter based on a predefined booking because it has to display the booking. If you return here to the record arrival, here, head waiter, enter the date, the system will display the booking and then give confirm. So this record arrival was done based on a predefined booking for the customer that had already booked a time slot before they arrive. So in this case, we have to extend the record arrival use case, because when we define the record arrival, we define the use case based on different scenarios. We define it that we support that there is a booking. So the record walk-in use case in this case, which is now a standalone use case, hardware to perform display booking. We go to display booking, enter the details, system record, and display new booking. Because it has to display the booking to see what is all booking we have and what is available slot we have. So very similar to the record arrival. Yeah, can we simplify it? Yes. Here include is we can't use include here. We can say, okay, record booking is included in the or we can, maybe we can, I don't know, maybe I'm maybe I'm incorrect. Why we can't deal with the record walk-in like we deal with the display booking, which means we said it is an excluded, and we see how we do it now, and we can say it is include. Why we can do this? I will discuss it with you after I finish this. So start thinking about it. I will choose one of you to give me an answer. Yeah, so record walk-in is performed some cases of record arrival, but there is no booking. By the way, in this sentence, you will have the answer for this. So, do you have an answer? Why we can set this record arrival, it is not include, is extend. Why? Why I can't use include, even though it has a similar task? Why I can't say include, as we have already done with the display booking? Display booking, it was a task from the record arrival, so we said it is include. Record walk-in has some tasks included in the record arrival, but we didn't say this use case include in this. We said this extend. Why we can't use extend? We use extend and not include. Do we have any volunteer? So go ahead. So I don't expect you that you have always correct answer. And even though you don't have this, we have to discuss it to clarify it. So I will count till 10, then I will choose one as a must volunteer in this case. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So don't leave the room, stay here. So I will Swatiska, are you here?
Yes, sir.
Perfect.
Yes.
Do you hear my question?
Can you repeat it, sir?
Yeah. And Lula, by the way, now had already wrote some hint now. She had already written some hint, so you can see the hint. My question is, let me know. Let me first.
Swastika.
Swastika, yeah, is correct.
Yes, sir.
Perfect. So swastika. My question is, record walk-in use case. It has some tasks that's being already included in the record arrival, and display booking. It has some tasks that's already included in the record arrival. The display booking, we made a relationship between it and the record arrival as include, because we believe that all tasks for display booking is being already included in the record arrival. However, the record walk-in also, all tasks are included in the record arrival. However, we didn't mention as and include, we mentioned as extend. Why?
So because we cannot account for unplanned visits by the customers, so we need to use a different use case where customers are not pre-registered to arrive.
So let me help you on this. So do you want to, Jad, do you have something to add before we conclude? Go ahead, Jad.
Sorry, so
Uh,
can I answer this or?
Yeah, you can answer both. So Swastika, she had already told us what this her own opinion. So you can add. Go ahead, Jad.
So I'm thinking of it in a way. So for example, in object-oriented programming, you can extend a class. So you basically inherit from the original class and extend the functionality by adding more functions. So this is how I'm thinking of it, but I'm not sure if I'm correct.
So what about include in this case?
Well,
So
to include something is to add the original stuff, but not extend it, not add additional things to it.
but both cases include and extend here. So display booking and record walk-in didn't add a new tasks to the record arrival. If you can see display booking, it's concerning that check the system and display booking, so it is part from the record arrival. Record walk-in, it is display booking, enter the detailed, system record and display no booking. So if we go to the record booking, record arrival, head waiter enter date, display booking, head waiter confirm arrival of the booking, system record, and then update display. So it's almost the same. The point, Jad and Swastika, that, yeah, what you have already said, Jad, can be for extent correct. When you have a class and you extend another class, which means that the extended class include all the parameters of a function from the parent class. However, it can have different parameters for the functions. Here, the include task, use case, which is a display booking, it has some, here's this word. It always perform tasks that they are part from the use case that include in it. However, the exclude use case, it is a use case that perform also the same task, but based on a condition. The condition here is no booking. So if there is no condition, this use case will not exist. This is why here, when I make an extend, I put no prior booking. There is a condition. So the key difference here that whenever there is an extend, there should be a condition. Include mean always satisfied. Always this, when we said display booking, whenever you have a record arrival, you should always have display booking. Which is the set of tasks of this use case that is included in this, the first one, always satisfied, always happened. There is no condition, it's always happened. Yeah, so Lula, thank you, Lula. You should said, yeah, this is involved scenario, not originally involved within. Yeah, this is, I was expecting to hear the word condition. So thank you, Lula, thank you, Swastika, and thank you, Jad, for your comments. So to sum up, the main key difference between extend and include is having a condition. Include always satisfied, extend that there is a condition based on this. So a record walk-in will do a tasks that are mentioned here based on a condition. Here, all the tasks that being in display booking will always be included here and always being done here. If it is clear for all of us the main difference between this, here is the complete use case scenario, if we can see here. So here we will have different use cases. This is, we have a fixed use cases, if you see. This include an all, and this is extent for this. You can see this is the final version. So somehow, for what do we have here? Do you want to have a break? I can give you 10-minute break. So, and we return back. We still have a very few slides before we go start the group work. If you want to continue, I can continue. If you want to have a break, having 3 thumbs up, give a break. If I don't have any thumbs up, I will not give a break. So Ampere 1, PopJit 1, so Lula, okay, perfect. So it is now, we will be back after 10 minutes. So see you after. I will keep the session. We will back about 10:20. Just you can keep everything. I will mute myself. Hi. I'm a bit late, sorry. So, can we continue? I need 3 thumbs up. 1, 2, 3, perfect. I have, okay. So let me share again. If you can see my screen for the PowerPoint presentation, just I need 1 thumbs up. Thank you so much, Jad. So we can say that this is a final version for the case study, UML diagram based on the requirements that you have already collected. So maybe sometimes you can't draw everything in one use case diagram, UML diagram, so you can have different diagrams. So you can put the use cases that are related to each other in the same diagram, and then you have another diagram for another use cases. So it depends in what requirement you are going to collect. So guidelines for us, just now to have some discussion. So this is a very high level one. Still, we are collecting the requirement before to go to the analysis. We haven't started, even though it is a very pre-step in the analysis. Still, there is more analysis stuff, and then we will have more design stuff in upper level. So if we return to the UP model, unified process, so we are still in the inception phases and in a pre-step in this inception phases. So we don't have to describe actual computations and go deeply in this. We said record booking, display booking. So in a very higher level we are talking now. So any person will go and see our diagrams can understand now what is the main, let's say, tasks or set of tasks, use cases, and who is or are the main actors. So the use case diagram is used to supplement the use case description, not the main artifact. So the main artifact should include is a use case diagram plus the description. The description that includes the name of each use case plus the different scenarios that it will have. So it is part from the delivery that we will have. It's not the whole part of it. Care must be taken to ensure the use cases and complete on, yeah, as I have already said before, so we have taken so serious here because all different steps that will come lately, it's based on this. Benefit of use cases, as we can see that it gives context for the requirement, because if I can read this, I can understand more what is the main requirement of the system. Are easy to understand, especially if you make a UML diagram. So I can know this is the actor and this is the main group of tasks, which is the use cases, and I can see the relationship between them. This include in this exclude from this, and the one is excluded. What is the condition? And by the way, this is very important. Facilitate agreement with customers. Because sometimes what happens that when you develop, if you don't create a use cases diagrams and all use cases description, and then you will give it as a document to your customer, and you will ask the customer to sign this document. Because lately, when you will go and develop this system, and the customer said, okay, but this is not mentioned, you do not include this and this. You said, okay, but this was not included in the UML diagrams and different requirement gathering documentation as I have already delivered to you before. So having this model, having this modelized document will help us to have a systematic agreement with the customers. So it lately also when we make a test, and then we make a test, and then we said, okay, we have some issues, so we can go return to this document always to see if there's maybe problem with we haven't delivered all the implementations that relate to this requirement, or maybe the problem with the requirement itself, and there is a gap between the requirement collection and what is expected from the system. So it is, if you can see the strengths, it is familiar. We said it is similar and similar. And we use some terminology that anyone can understand, like having this as an actor, having this as a use case. So it is a very simple, even though it's a person who is not a deeply technical guy, he can understand it. When we start about requirement, we talked about functional or a non-functional requirement. We said, okay, we have a functional requirement, talk about different functions that different actors will do it, that we have already modelized it now here in this version here. So this is our all functional requirement. Record booking, cancel booking. So we said functional requirement is a task that the user expected to do using the system. Non-functional requirement talk about the quality, about efficiency, about scalability of the system. We haven't talked about it now. So if we have to do this, talking about non-functional, about usability and reliability and performance. And here we mean by functionality, which means that about concerning efficiency functionality or something like this. Constraint, so we have to make a supplementary document with the UML diagram and use cases description. Sometimes we need to have a glossary, which means what do you mean by this word, what do you mean by this word, what do you mean by this word? And this can be a non-functional requirement to have this glossary. And you write it as a document including the find and deliver when you deliver the whole use cases diagrams and use cases description. Now classwork. I will give you now 15 minutes. 15 minutes. We can divide us two groups. I will give you 15 minutes. You can use whiteboard. I'm quite sure that you can't draw all UML diagrams and write all you don't have to go as an assignment, do everything. So just divide us two groups. I will be with both of you. Let's go ahead and suppose that you want to make a course registration system. So course registration system, and then you need to do this to make the UML diagrams and the use cases description for this. Don't go deeply. Maybe you can have three use cases, up to you. Normally, if I give you an assignment, sometimes I will give you the different requirement. And based on this requirement, you have to create it. But this is because it is a group work and it is a class work, so I don't have to give you a special requirement. Each group will think about different one, and then we'll go ahead and make the use cases and draw the use case diagram. So I will make two rooms now, breakout rooms. And I will share with you the PDF here that you can use it when you are doing this. I will stop sharing you. I don't know if I will stop sharing here. And I will send you a PDF document that includes this for all of you, that you can use it in when you are doing the classwork. And I will be with you, both of you. Let me first save it as PDF. I will share it here. So if I go now here, season 1, lectures, week 2. So I will go to I share it in the chat that all of you can see the PDF, you could use it in your group work. And I assigned you to different, I will be in each group. Hi, team. Please, can you mute yourself? So we are back now, yeah? I can see that, yeah, we still can see, yeah. So room 1. Okay, so concerning room 1, I need one person from the room 1 that he will discuss with me the output that they have agreed on. So from room 1, who select or elect that he can be representative of the room 1? Room 1 team.
Sir, which one was room 1?
Room 1, let me check because I deleted the room, so I'm not anymore can see. Let me check if I can know, yeah. So room 1, yeah, maybe I can see, still I can see the, yeah. So Amber and Khajid and Genevieve and maybe one more, they were the room 1. So maybe you know yourself now.
Okay, yeah.
I will share, maybe you take a screenshot now. I will share my screen. If you want, I can. Yeah, I will share my screen and share what you have already. Yeah. So I think this is one, yeah?
Yes.
So go ahead. Can you repeat your name for me?
It's Janvi.
Janvi, perfect. So go ahead, Janvi.
Yeah. So we made two actors for this scenario. One
Okay.
being the student and the other being the administration. So in order to register a student for a particular course, we need this student, the name basically. So the student information and the course information. So all of these three aspects would come under, would be taken by both the sides and would be considered from both the sides.
Janvi,
Yeah.
first. So we said there are three main aspects when we talk about use case modeling: actors, use cases, and the scenarios for use cases. Yeah, you agree on this? So the actors, they are perfect. I like the drawing also. So we have a student and we have an admin. So and when we talk about the use cases, we should give it a name. So student registration, this is the first use case, yeah?
Like registering the student for the courses.
No, we said, yeah. First, you have to define what is the use cases you have and what is the name of the use cases.
Okay.
So you have three use cases. So
Yes.
student registration, this is a name for this? I'm asking you.
Actually, I think someone just edited it on the last minute. We had,
Okay, tell me the name. What will be the name? So there are three use cases or more?
yeah. So we will consider more cases as well, like being the course for which
Okay,
course.
let me redefine what do you mean by a use case. A use case it is set of tasks or activity or functionality, so that different actors will do it. Or so you will have three use cases. What is the name? I'm asking now what your name. Let
The
I give
name
on the three only. So what is the
the
name?
okay, so here they are student registration,
Okay.
student information, and report.
Perfect. Normally when we are going to choose a name should present or describe what is the tasks under it. So student information, we can't use it to describe different tasks. If I go to the student information, what are the different tasks on this use case?
We had put this because we were looking for the student ID, for example. So we can register a student upon their student ID when we know. So like it's connected both ways.
I see. This is why I'm asking you this question in order to do it in a better way. So
Mhm.
when I have to choose a
Mhm.
name should describe set of tasks. So
Yeah.
when I hear student information, it doesn't describe a student, like said, when you go to the restaurant, we said record booking, booking recording, for example. We said record arrival. So it's talk about set of, so student information, you want to say that about, for example, this is about how we create a student profile?
So, sir, we should have made subcategories of student information.
Not subcategories. The subcategories, it is the tasks. A use case, it is a name for a set of tasks. So let's
Okay.
take student, what I understood from Janvi, that this use case talk about creating a student ID and creating a new file or profile for the student as if it is a new student. This is correct? Janvi?
I did not get what you just said.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah. First, I said that a use case name
Mm-hmm.
should talk about set of tasks or activities
Yes.
or
Yes.
events.
Mm-hmm.
So student information as a name, it's talk about information about data. It doesn't give a good descriptive words
Yeah.
about set of tasks.
I agree to that.
So
Yeah.
if you are going to talk about set of tasks or activities related to the registration or creating a profile for a student,
Mm-hmm.
so we can set profile creation or creating a student profile.
Hmm.
In this use case, we will describe different tasks like display or create a student ID,
Mm-hmm.
enter all information,
Okay.
register them in the system. So this is about creating student profile. So the name of a use case should describe what is the tasks that are included in this use case. Is it clear?
Yes.
So maybe concerning student registration, you talk about course registration. So the first use case about creating student profile,
Mm-hmm.
the second use case will be about course registration, yeah?
Yeah.
And it talk about selecting different courses and selecting and approval for the prerequisite, whatever all tasks in this case. The third use case here is reports. What do you mean by this use case?
So the outcome, if the student is registered, what all results we have, like let's say the exam marks, so on and so forth, shall be maintained by admin.
Okay, if you're talking about displaying different reports, we will say display reports.
Okay.
So the report as a word is talking about an information about data. This we can use it when we are going to create a database. However, if we are creating a use case which is according to our own definition, a
Mm-hmm.
use case, it is set of tasks. So the name of the use case is talking about activities. So if it is this use case talking about displaying the report, I can say display reports.
Yeah. Yeah.
You agree?
Yes.
Maybe there were another colleague in the same team he was discussing with me. I forgot who was.
Me, sir.
Who you are? Just
Amber.
Amber, yeah, go ahead, Amber. Do you want to discuss more in this?
No, sir, that would be all, I believe.
Okay, take care, Amber, that We don't use a word subcategory or category. We use a use case name and set of tasks related to it.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Let's go to group 2 or room 1. Maybe this is room 2. Room 1, Lula and Swastika and the others. Who can present your work? I can see here any screenshot or maybe the whiteboard here. Lula?
Swastika just the file.
Maybe I can join the whiteboard, it's still here. Here it is. You can see the screen?
Yes.
Okay, who will present your work? Can you choose one?
Okay, so sir, we first listed the actors and use cases.
Wait. Prabhajit, you are going to do it?
Yes, sir, I can do it. Prabjot.
Okay, perfect. Yeah. So please, others, just mute yourself. Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
So sir, the actors in the diagram we can see are the student and the teacher. Student is able to register in a course and withdraw from a course, and also display course is another use case in which they can see all the courses that they have registered to. The teacher or the admin, they can withdraw, make the student withdraw from a course also, and again they can also see the courses. They can also use the use case display courses.
Perfect. So according to your mutual understanding that you see that there are two actors. Yeah, I said it's up to you. I didn't make any restrictions or requirement. So student and a teacher. And okay, you have also an admin, but maybe you don't have time now to mention here, yeah, Prabhajit?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so the use cases, you have created 3 use cases: register to a course, withdraw from a course, and also display registered courses. And and add to waitlisted. Perfect. I agree on this. I agree also on display courses. I agree. Withdraw from a course. So you make a use case for this, a standing alone use case. Why you make this a standing alone use cases? Can you tell me?
Withdrawing a course, it is we thought it is a totally separate step from other thing like registering. We can withdraw from the course sometime later, on some other day, when we think about that maybe I should choose for some other course and not the one that I've already opted for. So they
Perfect.
can withdraw individually.
I agree with you. I agree with you. Thank you so much. And I'm happy that you have already benefited from the course today, and then you can apply it in a way. So any one of you had any question, I'm happy to ask me before we finish our lecture today. So, and by the way, after I uploaded the lecture, I will share an assignment for you. It will be our first assignment. I will share it in the Blackboard for all of you, and I will give a deadline for this assignment. So anyone had a question, I'm happy to hear.
I just had a question just from this.
Who's saying what, however? Prabjit also, yeah?
Yeah, so like we were thinking to add one, like a scenario where, for instance, student tries to register the course,
Okay.
but they cannot, like maybe there's a hold on their account, or like the course is already full. So
Perfect.
that would be like the scenario under register course.
Yeah. This will be a scenario, an exceptional scenario.
Mm-hmm.
So for each use case, you can define a normal scenario, an alternative scenario, and exceptional scenario. Exceptional scenario means that there is a special condition that should occur in order that this scenario will happen. So when you describe a use case, you can describe different scenario for the same use case. And in each scenario, you will present the different events for this scenario.
All right. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. If there is no any more question, I hope that you have enjoyed the lecture today. I just need 3 thumbs up before I close. 1, 2, 3. Perfect. Take care. See you next week. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much.
You're always welcome.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye.
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 Thank you, sir.